I updated the Twitch.
Okay, thank you. All right, and we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to CosTalk Live. It is Sunday, and we are here talking about foam smithing, and we have a guest with us today. He's over here. And
Hi everybody.
Rob. So, Rob, why don't we have you introduce yourself and kind of what you do?
I'm Rob, by the way. I basically do, well, I kind of got shoved into big armor, and, well, it didn't shove, it just liked big armor. Been doing this for, discounting this past year, about 4 years. Pretty much, I did it backwards and went with the hardest media first, which is fiberglass and resin. Don't do it. Just stay away from it. And then am going backwards and just trying everything with a group called New Arizona Republic. So I kind of specialize in Fallout stuff, which my house looks like something from Fallout.
There's a rad roach on his oven.
Wrong side back here. That's Steve, our rad roach.
Little post-apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic. I like to try a little bit of everything because I'm new, and I kind of like the, what was it, the last stream you all did, or the one before, about your evolution in cosplay? I'm 54. I got into it 4 years ago with the sole purpose of building a lamp for my living room, and my lamp turned into a full set of power armor. And, you know, I never expected to go this far. So it was like, it was supposed to be a lamp, you know, a 6-foot statue in my living room. I went to a convention, was like, told my best friend who helped me build it, was like, I want to wear it. And he goes, all right.
There's no stopping in cosplay. Like, if you make one cosplay and then you're like, nah, then that's it. But you, like, past that, there's no stopping. You know,
has that ever happened? I don't think it has.
I think very few people have been like, oh, I don't quite like the attention or something like that, or maybe they just don't have, you know, the patience. But other than that, everyone else gets sucked in. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it was like,
no such thing as just one and done.
Yeah, that's what it ended up being. Is, and then I got part of the group, Fallout group, and I didn't want to do big armor after that one, and I tried to do a comfortable cosplay that was not huge, and somehow it morphed into, you'll see a picture later, but yeah, it just, and it's been fun. It's been a blast. Just doing this, learning stuff. And I am the least artistic person you will ever talk to. If it's not a straight line, it ain't working. So this was to make armor that's supposed to be all beat up and stuff, was completely like, yeah, that hurt. But yeah, and then the radar armor, that's all foam. That was my first dive into doing foam smithing, is that one. And it was a huge steep learning curve. But again, with foam, you mess up, who cares? Start over.
Yeah.
Take what you did, cut it up, or use it for other things. And
this is number 3 of this particular design, and I'm probably going to redo it.
And the more you progress, the better you get. The more detailed, the more intricate, and it just, have fun. I mean, like I like to say with our group, have fun with it. Don't make it a job. It's a hobby. It's something to have fun with. Have fun with it. And literally, the radar armor was built with trash and odds and ends, because that's how I wanted to. What sparked that was one of our group members was really kind of down on themselves because they didn't have the money or the funds or didn't really know what to do. And I was like, I'll tell you what, I will supply you with stuff to build yours, and I'll show you that you don't need hundreds of thousands of, hundreds of dollars to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You can just go at it. It's just, take the reins off your imagination and go. So that's how I approached it. And I made mistakes, and fortunately in the Fallout Wasteland world, a mistake is battle damage.
Oh yeah, mistakes are always better.
Exactly. Battle damage. Just move on. So yeah, so that's where I've been.
Yeah, because that can be a lot of dedication. That's kind of one thing that's like put me off from like doing a lot of armor is I want it to do all those details, but it takes a lot of work. And I totally commend people that do all those steps.
Yeah, foam isn't as forgiving like it can be, but foam isn't as forgiving as like a thermoplastic where you can just heat it back up and start molding and adjusting it, or clay or other things. Foam is definitely one of those things you really have to plan for in advance, and you need to know your measurements, you need to know your scale, you need to know just how much material you'll need. It's easily accessible, which is great, and it's pretty inexpensive, but yeah, it does take a bit more planning.
Also, there's like a lot of things to think about, like the dimensions, like the thickness of the foam. Like, okay, like if you took a piece of fabric and wrapped it around your arm, it would fit, but then take a piece of like 4 or 5 millimeter foam,
right?
Just shortened yourself. Yeah,
I have a
people will make
foam measuring tape.
Yeah.
I have my foam measuring tape that I use to measure all my pieces because like I had to do Haru's armband, and so I just took like a scrap of my foam and I just marked off my inches and just use that for absolutely everything now.
Yep. That's the best thing is taking the whatever size foam you have, cut a strip the same length as a ruler or a measuring tape, and use that as your actual measuring tape.
That's exactly what I learned is have some foam patterns that you can use multiple times that you can do like around your head, or like this is actually done by a friend of mine from Recovery One, and that's exactly what he did. Was he has foam strips with all his head measurements, and that's how he starts to do his patterns.
That's clever. That's a good idea.
So
it's a great way to get started.
Oh yeah.
So everybody else probably already knows this. So we'll just do a really quick introduction. We'll start with Kii-Chan, then go to Ambrose and Jinx, and I'll end with myself.
Hi, I'm Kii-Chan Cosplay, Pacific Northwest cosplayer. Semi-new to the foam world. I've only been dabbling for the last couple of years. Things like this, just kind of little pieces, accessories, props. So I wouldn't say I'm a pro in any sense, but I like to learn. But the most exciting thing about today is I'm using our cosplay company's very own beautiful hood. It is so good. I can't really put it up with my ears, but this is so comfortable and so warm and so thick. It's like 2 layers and the inside's really soft. And I just want to say how much I love it, and I'm so excited to be doing pictures for it today. I'm doing my own design of Assassin Umbreon for like D&DBs. But yeah, that's me.
Nice.
Ambrose?
Hi guys, I'm Liz from Ambrose Cosplay. I have been cosplaying for about 7 years. I'm one of our Arizona cosplayers. It's currently raining here in Mesa, Arizona. I am freezing my butt off because I am not used to this weather at all, but definitely enjoying it. But yeah, that's why I'm not in costume today. I thought about taking my jacket off and was like, nope, ain't gonna happen.
All right, Jinx.
Hi guys, I'm Jessica from Jinx Cosplay. Same, so it's raining here in Gilbert, which is right next to Mesa, and I was just like, oh my god, like I've had this hoodie for like a year, and it's finally cold enough to wear it, and now it's actually kind of warm. So it's actually kind of warm here. So I've been cosplaying since 2001. I do a lot of video game cosplays. I'm a Moana cosplay main, I guess you can say, and I do a lot of Overwatch cosplays as well. Hi.
And I'm Sam from ThermoCosplay. I've been cosplaying since 2014. I'm also in a giant hoodie, but I'm doing Tokidoki little moo cow.
Yeah, how many of us are wearing hoodies? Not that mine is any.
Yeah, and then I started out with foam. So foam is sort of my thing. I have lots of information to share, plenty of tutorials, and we can talk through processes. So I still use foam excessively, and I get all of my foam from the Cosplay Pros, who I'm sponsored by, because they're local, they're based out of Arizona, and they have some of the best high-density foam I've ever used. So they also have foam clay, and they have scales, and they have bevels and rods, and like they make life easier for you.
Oh my god, like the amount of like shapes that foam comes in these days is like amazing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, I saw bevels. I was like,
I know. I won a cosplay foam from Cosplay Fabrics, And I thought it was like one of each thing. It was like two of each thing, every single like Yaya Han foam like product. And I was like, oh my God, it's so amazing. Like scales and bevels and dowels. And then there's like, you know, the big with like with like all the details on it. Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, you can get, like, if you're looking for really inexpensive, you can use the anti-fatigue floor mats at like Harbor Freight or Home Depot for like bigger pieces. You can go to Craft Foam, any craft store. Now most craft stores or fabric stores are starting to carry Yaya Han's foam, which is EVA foam. Then there's
this one is EVA, just the fatigue mat on the bottom, and then it's layered with a thinner craft foam. I can't remember if this is Yaya or not. I bought some and I didn't like it. Then I bought Yaya's and now I use hers because it's really high quality.
Yeah, there's so I like the Cosplay Pros HD foam, but I've also used TNT Cosplay Supply, and they have stuff too. Just right now they're kind of struggling with the shipment, so they only have like the really huge sheets, and I'm like, I already have enough huge sheets that I've rolled really tight from the Cosplay Pros. I cannot play this game. So I'm just using all of that. Yeah,
TNT is really good. They just moved into a brand new warehouse, and it was two people that created the company, and they were running it out of their house, and now they're in this huge warehouse just like within 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
that company just blew up.
It's pretty impressive what Cosplay has done for the foam market. And more EVA foam and high density foam are working towards finding ways to make it recyclable too, because that is one thing that I'm very careful with when I'm working with foam is I plan all of my cuts so I can use as much of the foam as possible. There's also foam clay, which, oh my gosh, guys.
I'm in love with foam clay.
I love foam clay.
You just use a little bit of water and that stuff just works so well. So yeah, Sakura Elric said that Michael's has EVA foam in the US and in Canada. Joanne's has it where I live right now, and I've heard that even like places like Hobby Lobby and Target are considering it too. So we'll see what happens.
Michael's Warbler, it's amazing. So what we're being able to find in stores is so awesome.
Well, and it's pretty impressive. There's actual local places in Arizona that sell Warbler, like Blix Art Materials sells all forms of Warbler, which is amazing.
So does Astoria Games.
Oh my gosh, you guys! I actually have like a funny story about Reynolds Advanced Materials, which is like they have like a place here in Arizona. I don't know if that's like their main place.
Yeah, they're by my house.
So anyways, like I went to place an order. I had 2 tabs open. And I had ordered from them before, and shipping was like that. Like it came like I think the next day, which was so impressive. So I had 2 tabs open. I had one for Reynolds Advanced Materials, and then I had another for like the original supplier of what I was ordering. And guess which one I ordered from? I ordered from the wrong one, which was based in Australia, and it took like a month to get my stuff. And I even got like an email from Reynolds Advanced Materials like the next day that was like, "We miss you," and I was like, "Yeah, I know, I'm stupid. Thank you." I appreciate that.
That's one thing is I always suggest people to look locally because EVA foam and craft foam and HD foam, which is high density foam, more and more places are realizing that not only are crafters using it and cosplayers, but it's also a good resource for mechanics and other. There's a lot of applications for it. I mean, you can use it in home decor. You can use it in so many things. So more and more local shops are starting to carry different types of HD and EVA foam. So I suggest starting locally, but if you can't, then there are big places like the Cosplay Pros, TNT Cosplay Supply, Yaya Han, and you can find foam there as well.
And Tucson Michaels has a huge display. I mean, they have Warbler, they have almost all the different sizes of foam. They even have Kamui Cosplay's stuff that's showing up in there, like her books and everything. So,
yeah, and it's a good time to get started in foam because there's a lot of tutorials. A lot of cosplayers have already created patterns for you. So if you don't want to do what traditionally, we discussed this on the stream before, we've had a foam sniffing early on. We're kind of going more in our process today. But traditionally, you get saran wrap, you get duct tape or painter's tape, and you just keep layering it all over yourself, and then you draw patterns and you cut yourself out, and you're taking forever. Well, a lot of these cosplayers have created male and female patterns, and all you have to do is size it up.
Yeah.
That makes life a lot easier.
And if you're going to do that, make sure you really trust the person that's helping you, and you make them happy because
medical scissors too. Don't cut yourself because I have scars.
They we will get
and
a
now there's
foam
also
line.
a lot of paint, like Plaid. Plaid has come out. Plaid is the one that does, I think, like what, Apple Barrel
And
and
the flexible
You're
paint.
like everything.
yeah, and Mod Podge, and so now they have Plaid FX, which is their line for foam, like cosplay paints for foam. So it's a little bit more flexible and won't crack as much. So that's cool. I haven't tried that. I did buy a bottle, but I haven't tried it yet. So that's
I traditionally, I'm still trying to get through all my, for those of you who have a large collection of acrylic paint like I do, if you want to make it more flexible, mix it with fabric glue and it works very well.
or even fabric medium or no?
Fabric medium too as well. Yeah, I use both. Fabric glue for something that has a bit more, like it's going to have more resistance. Like if it's going to rub against things, the glue helps seal it stronger. But the medium for things that just are light detail.
See, I'm about to actually start a couple of foam pieces myself for a costume that I'm actually really close to finishing up. So I might take some notes today on the process because I've made like one foam thing and it wasn't great. And I'm like, where did I go wrong? I'm obviously right?
So let's talk real fast. We'll start with Rob, where you started with foam. Like, how did you get started the first time? Because I know that you said you've only started 4 years ago. You just wanted to build a lamp, and then it grew.
My first one was the T45, and it was supposed to be a lamp, and I ended up building it out of fiberglass and resin, which is essentially, if you're not familiar with it, like if you've ever seen a Corvette, that's pretty much fiberglass. So that whole car is a fiberglass, and it's a very long and tedious and caustic process. Plus, that armor weighs about 60 pounds total. Thanks. Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah,
I have a costume that weighs about that much. It's not super fun to wear.
No, yeah, and then helping, getting in and out of it. And so after that, I decided I wanted to build a comfortable cosplay, and I never really worked with foam, so I ended up going online and checking out places like Punish Props and Evil Ted and Kamui Cosplay, and kind of learned their processes to do that. And so what I ended up doing is I wanted to make, it's essentially a Raider armor out of Fallout, and it was supposed to be just like arm pieces, gauntlet pieces, just basic armor pieces, and somehow it morphed into that. I have no idea how that happened because
wait, is this the comfortable cosplay we're looking at?
That was supposed to be the comfortable cosplay.
Oh gosh.
So it started out as, let's see, like one shoulder pad, an arm piece, like just very basic, like pieces like this is how it started out. And that's foam. That was a foam armor piece. That was actually one of the pieces that I was going to use. Well, I started getting so into the foam, it led, which is the Raider power armor out of Fallout 4. And so things I just used is like things I learned about using patterns and wrapping it and cutting it. The biggest thing I can say is make sure you have a sharp cutting tool, and I bought a sharpener, basically a Kershaw sharpener for that blade, and just went at it. I did not use any patterns for that. That is all pretty much freehanded. So it was fun. It was a blast. It got a little too detailed because I sometimes get lost in the details when I build things, and it morphed into that. It was fun. I mean, I'm not gonna get wrong. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. In this picture, mine took me about a year to build out of foam. The gentleman next to Gabe in the X01, he took about a year to build his. That I believe was our first year at TCC, at Tucson Comic Con, when I had actually debuted that at Phoenix the year before, my Raider armor. But yeah, it's a lot of fun with foam. I get you a good like cutting. I started with a box knife at that point. It's like those ones you get from like the hardware store that are gray that you take apart and change out the blades. And then I evolved into doing the snap blades, which are a little bit more precise. So I more just be careful when you snap the blades off, because if you're doing it, and that the blades will have a tendency, because it's spring steel, to fly off.
Oh.
But yeah, have you a good straight edge. And I went out, and my first straight edge was a piece of steel that I got from a piece of flat steel that I got from Lowe's. It was my first straight edge. And then I have the rulers and the tape measure to do. But yeah, it was a lot of trial and error. I'm not the smallest guy in the world, so there's a lot of foam in that armor. But yeah, it just, I learned, that was my learning curve, was that whole armor to do it.
My one like thing that I tell people when they're trying to get started on armor is have a sharp knife. Like, go buy a good knife and then go buy a good sharpener if you're trying to save money. Because I don't like wasting my blades, because I cut through. I always want that super sharp blade. So I always just make a cut, and then I sharpen my knife, and then I make a cut, and then I sharpen my knife. And that is, in my opinion, like the way I love doing foam, to get that nice clean cut. So I just go buy a good sharpener. I think mine was like $25 on Amazon. It's just something I can grab when I need it, and it's so useful, and it really does help, because like this piece here, you can tell that I'll have to do pictures later, but you can tell I did not use a clean knife to cut some of this. It's really obvious right there, and it's because this is one of my older pieces and I didn't know what I was doing, which could be dremeled down. Like, it just gives you more work, because you can always clean it up with like a Dremel or a sandpaper. But if I did this again, I would have a very clean knife, and I just shoot one cut and I wouldn't have to touch it again. So
yeah, that's a really good point, because like I said, I started with a box blade, and luckily, because mine is Fallout Wasteland, so I don't really have to get clean cuts. It's battle damage, so But that's one of the things I did learn, is take your time, be patient, and practice. I mean, once you start doing foam, you'll learn. You'll have a lot of like little pieces, or if you do the floor mat foam, take the end pieces that you peel off and use those, and then practice with those. I did learn a little trick, is those end pieces you can use as scales, and also use them for making patterns out of. Like if you're looking to do like wrap your arm for armor or something, or length, cut it to length. And I have a full set of them in the other room that I just used. It's all waste foam that I use for patterns that I can make, armor. So I don't have to go and, figure out what my arm is. I just grab those and go now. So, and just throw it on the foam and go. So, but yeah, and as far as the foam, like I said, in the 4 years I've been doing this, I started out with floor mat foam, and now I don't even want to use it, because you can get the higher density foams, and the higher density means, like in the floor mat foams that she's showing, there's air pockets in those. It's they're fatigue mats, so they don't have to be real high quality. So if you cut into it, you'll get like air pockets. And if you like look at them real closely, so when you put paint or coating over it, it will soak in and you won't get that smooth finish. The higher density foams that are coming out, like by Yaya Han, and I think Evil Ted has a line, TNT and Cosplay Pros that are selling, the higher density does not have all those air pockets in it. So you'll get a cleaner surface that you will have to do way less prep.
Yeah, I mean, even when you heat seal the anti-fatigue mats, you'll still get bubbles, because I've had one where I've heat sealed it, I've treated it properly, and I sealed it with Plasti Dip, and I still would end up with like a pocket here or there that I had to fill more with some kind of a silicone caulk or something, because it just was a problem.
And a word of advice, kids, always heat seal. I was doing just a little tiny piece. I'm working on my staples for my Dobby cosplay. And so I decided to make just some EVA pieces for it. The first time I was doing it, I was just in a rush and I was going through, and I totally forgot to like heat seal my foam, and it just kept eating my paint I went 5 coats, and I'm like, this isn't absorbing, like it just keeps absorbing my paint. I just scrapped the whole thing, got a new piece, heat sealed it, and now it's 2 coats and it's done. Like it was
First
just
time,
such
yeah.
a huge difference.
First time I ever touched foam, I had no idea like to heat seal it. This was like, I don't know, like back in 2014, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I must have put like 8 coats of paint, and then of course when I stored it, like all the paint stuck together, and then it cracked, and it was a mess. I was like, what the heck was I thinking? But yeah, pretty bad.
Heat sealing is when you take one of the tools you're going to have to invest in is a good heat gun. And what the heat gun does is it makes the foam pliable, where you can get like the curves and stuff out of it, and it'll stay molded. And what heat sealing does is you run the heat gun over it. Pretty quick, because you can actually see it change. And what that does is it seals it. Again, with the higher density. Yeah. With the higher density.
The pores close up.
Yeah.
I have a question, because this actually, I've seen several, like Evil Ted, Kamui Cosplay, those foam experts. They all seem to have a different way of doing it. So I actually have a project that I need to start this week if I'm going to stay on schedule. That's some boot armor. I already have the pattern for it. I just need to, I haven't cut anything out yet. So when you have something that goes around a curve like that, that's in multiple pieces, do you guys shape it a little bit before you glue it, or do you glue it and then shape the whole thing?
So I can show you that right now, because I have a picture. Let me load this real fast. But I have, when I did my, I made a Amazon, and I actually was using the anti-fatigue floor mats because this is like really early on, before I even knew about HD foam. And so, yeah, I actually did, I created the pattern. I did the usual pattern thing. And then I did actually cut it out on the floor mats, you can see there. And then I did start heating it. So you can see it's kind of shiny right now. It's because I had heated it so that I could actually start gluing the little darts that I had together and line them up, because I found that without heating and shaping it, I couldn't actually get the darts to line up from the patterns that I'd made. So I had to heat seal, then glue, and then this is before I heat sealed again. So
okay, so you kind of shape it before you glue the pieces together.
Yeah.
If you have an aggressive, like in the shoulder pieces, if you have a really aggressive curve radius like that, and you don't shape it and you glue those pieces together, when you go to shape it, it'll actually point. The pieces point, so you'll get that ridge. So you want to pre-shape it, and if you really, like what I ended up doing is I ended up bevel cutting some of the rounder pieces on mine. It's not, you don't really have to do it that much, but I was trying different techniques. But yeah, you definitely want to start shaping it before you glue it together.
Yeah, so, especially with really big curves. Like the boobs here, I made them like super big because I thought it'd be hilarious. But I'm trying to find a picture. Sorry, there we go. So like, definitely fit me better by pre-curving it.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, because it will split, and if you don't, like here in Arizona, I learned the hard way. Hot glue in Arizona doesn't really work real well, and I had a piece that actually started to, it pointed up. So
I think everyone in Arizona has been burned by that before.
Yeah, I only use Gorilla Glue, Super Glue, Hot Glue, and it's only specifically for like gems or accessories, or like just like if it's a little strip of craft foam and it's not going to have any friction. Okay.
Back when this isn't actually foam related, but when I competed at San Diego Comic-Con with Sarah and Jareth, one of the judges had mentioned something to me about some of the details on Jareth. They were like, oh, well, in the original movie, they used hot glue, right? Like not, whatever I had done. I don't even remember what I did instead. But I was like, yeah, so I live in Phoenix. That's not really feasible for me, but thank you. Thanks for that.
That's one thing. Like, you can just, if you're going to build it, think about your area, think about the weather, think about what's going on. If you're not in a really hot environment, it's cooler and hot glue works better, that's fine, because I know that some contact cements, because of how cool an area is, don't work as well as they do here because it's so hot.
Yeah.
So sometimes hot glue is better. Like Kii-Chan is in Seattle, where hot glue would probably be amazing.
It's so cold right now that I was working with my creature skin and I had to bring it in and put it up against the heater because it wasn't curing because it's just too cold.
Oh wow.
And yeah, no, hot glue works fine with me. I just personally hate hot glue and only use it for absolute dire situations or detailing. Because if you're going to be working with foam and you want it to be really tough, you just go with the barge cement. Like I've never had a reason not to use barge cement.
Yeah, I also use some super glues for foam, depending if it's just foam detailing.
Oh, or CosBond.
Yeah, oh gosh, CosBond's amazing. You guys have
CosBond? You usually do.
That stuff works so well. But CosBond is a flexible adhesive that even worked in Arizona for me, and I swam in it and nothing came off. Oh no!
Yeah. I'm good.
Oh, wardrobe.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, the adhesives you want to think about when you're using foam too. You want since you're heating it up, it's off gassing. Even the HD foam and EVA foam, it off gases. So you'll need to be in a well ventilated space, or you'll need to be wearing a mask if you can't go in a well ventilated space. Keep your doors closed, keep your windows open, have your fans blowing the air out. Do not heat this up in your oven or over your stove. Anywhere where you might be eating, please don't have this stuff in. Even craft foam off gases. I don't know if people know that, but using a hot glue gun and craft gun, you're off gassing.
Yeah, there's a horror story. One of the members of our group lost her parrots to foam. She was eating up.
It's the one that I reference when I go to conventions. I don't say her name, but I'm like, I know someone that legit lost animals because she didn't know that foam off gassed.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty toxic.
It's like when I work with foam, I'll either I'll just go outside and work with it, or work with well ventilated. Same thing with contact cement. Mm-hmm. So contact cement and barge cement will sneak up on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it will. You know, I was working on the Raider armor, and I'm sitting 2 o'clock in the morning. Of course, the day before the con, which nobody ever does.
No,
I have never finished.
Yeah, exactly. We were doing the T-45. I have pictures of it somewhere of my buddy and I. The morning before we were supposed to debut it at TCC, had not a fit check thing at all. And I had it all painted and ready to go. And he's like, it had to be 2 o'clock in the morning. We had to be at the convention center by like 8. And it's like, he's like, well, do you want to try it on? I'm like, hell no, let's just go. Threw it in the van and took off, Well, I went and crashed on his couch, and we got up. And so my first fit check was at TCC for that. So, that's one thing I did learn about cosplay is you will never get done with anything on time at all. So, just period.
It's definitely like I'm a big planner. I try very hard to get things done on time, but I also like to help people. So there are moments where like I'll have my costume 90% done, but then someone comes to me with an emergency and I spend 20 hours on their costume too. And all of a sudden I forgot I needed another 10 on mine.
Oh, Sam is too nice.
Sam is like the supportive friend to a fault.
Yeah, I'm that person too.
I feel like I kind of plan a lot like Sam does. The problem being, and I'm well aware of this, but somehow I just never get around to changing it. I never plan for anything to go wrong. I always plan for everything to go perfectly the first time, which usually isn't what happens, and then I end up behind schedule. So
I don't have a plan.
So I'm gonna share like an early foam project I did. I started. This is all anti-fatigue floor mats and insulation foam. So I made Cassandra Alexandra from Soul Calibur. I think this is 3, and I didn't know how to make like her arm guards were weird, and I wasn't sure how to make this. But this wasn't too bad for like a first attempt at like a large sword and shield. And I started with for the patterns, like let me go see here, the foam. I literally just wrapped stuff around my arm and guessed. And for the sword, I have a metal. I highly recommend getting a metal yardstick. They're very durable. They last longer, and they can take heat if something goes wrong. I've caught wooden yardstick on fire. So I recommend metal.
Only you, Sam. Only you.
Only me. And I basically did not know how to make her patterns. So I kind of thought about like, well, circles are round. So I did 2 half circles to make her little weird arm thing. And I just guessed from here. I highly recommend doing paper patterns first or doing something else. But like this wasn't too bad for a first start. And I learned that super glue doesn't work well after. You need to heat seal your foam first and then glue on with super glue, because I did that backwards and then I had to reglue. Oops. And then I learned how to use like painter's tape for like laying out different details and stuff, which was really helpful. But there were a lot of lessons too. I also learned that whenever you're using insulation foam, after you've cut it and sanded it and kind of created the shape that you want, you can heat seal, but you'll have to be really far away, because I've noticed some fuzzies. So to get rid of the fuzzies on the side, I took my heat gun really far away from the insulation foam just to melt the edges very carefully. But I had to seal it with quick steel and wood glue to get it to be fully smoothed for a coat of plasti dip. It's foamed a lot of work, but in the end, like you can really make it look awesome. So don't be afraid to use foam either. And I mean, I'm pretty happy with like how it all turned out.
See, I'm very afraid to use foam. I'm quite scared.
I used to be, but like the more time I spent in the workshop, the more I fell in love with working with foam more than working with fabric. Because I used to only do fabric, and now I'm like, anytime you can put me in the workshop to paint or foam smith or anything, I get so excited. And like, even though this isn't my favorite piece, I don't know if you can tell, but I have these little tiny ruins carved into each piece. And I had so much fun just like marking this up and adding the studs, and it took way too long, but it was so much fun. And it's number 2, but I will redo it again and it'll look better. But it's so much fun to work with the foam. And like my Haru, I had a lot of fun with, because it was just a normal like metal piece for Haru. And it's just this beautiful golden belt that he has. But I got really like bored, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna actually like bejewel this. And so I took some craft foam and I carved out some different patterns to put on the top of it. Then I took a bunch of gems and I like gemmed up the piece, which normally isn't part of the costume. But I got this wild hair, and I'm like, I want it to look cooler than it is. And I'm just so proud of these pieces. It's just so much fun. It, like, as Rob showed, it's very addictive. You start with a lamp, and then you end with this, and you just can't help yourself.
The next thing you know, you got this thing, you're sitting there going, wow, that's just, did I do that? You know?
Yep. No, the belt was so much fun, and this is probably my best work when it comes to the foam, because I spent a lot of extra time on it, and I spent a lot of extra time doing extra coats, because I'm impatient and I have a really hard time spray painting things, because it's cold here, so it doesn't dry very quickly. So you have to do it during like the hottest day. So when you're like prepping, you're like, okay, it's going to be super sunny on this day on my day off. That's all I'm doing is going to be painting. And so this piece, you can tell, obviously I didn't clean up the inside. I was just using a fatigue mat, and I had a little mistake right on the inside there. So I put kind of a piece of foam to help, you can see the white block there, to help keep that belt shut, because I didn't glue it properly and I didn't want it to fall apart on me. And so there's obviously a lot of mistakes, but when you're looking at it, when I'm wearing it, you can't see them. So I was like, no, it's okay. It looks great. It's fine.
That's pretty
Yeah. That's a lot.
I just like we remembered, you guys, I keep saying that I've made like one foam piece. I just remembered that the Cusco crown that I made is also made of foam. Like, I have made 2, and I'm still bad at it, but I'm really looking forward to getting better, especially with the piece that I have to start this week, because the rest of the costume is looking good. So I can't have like really crummy foam pieces on this costume. Like, can't be done.
We've got a couple of comments here. I don't know if did we say hi to Joe? Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Vaughn's with us. Says, sorry, I'm late. It's all right. No one's ever late. Welcome. And he says, yeah, it's very durable. Also, his T60 power armor survived a fall down an escalator. We all remember that.
Yeah, we like, we gotta see him, but we can't save him. He's just dying. No, Chris, no.
There's gotta be a video of that somewhere.
Oh, that was. Oh, I was at the bottom of the stairs, and I was in my armor, and all I hear is and I turned around.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was like someone had like gotten stuck in like one of the little escalator steps or something. It was crazy. So yeah, when you're wearing foam, if it's big, use elevators.
Always use elevators
and ramps and elevators.
I can't recommend having a buddy system more when you're doing a big costume. And I know that's not always feasible, but like even when I'm doing my Demon Rom, I tried a buddy system because he's just such a hard costume to be in. It's hard to bend down and pick things up. When I do the actual claws, I can't touch anything. Like just buddy system.
Yeah.
I mean
a little insight to big armor. You can't see anything. And you can't hear anything unless somebody. So like my handlers, I worked out a system with, and I'll digress here for a minute. A handler, take care of them, especially if you're in big armor. They will literally save your life. Feed them, make sure they have everything they want. Don't hassle them because they will be your lifesaver. Like in my T-45. I can't hear anything, and my field of view is this. Like, I can't see anybody unless they're about 6 feet in front of me. Yeah. So, which is bad because I'm a big guy, and there's always little kids that come up. So I've learned to watch the handler, and I can tell his facial movements and stuff. And in that Raider armor, it's even worse. It's even worse than that.
You have a cage in front of you.
Yeah, you can't see anything. You have no idea what's going on around you other than this. My next big suits will have some sort of communications and some sort of heads up mic or something.
So I have a funny story because why not? My brother did. I'll actually pull a picture up real fast. But my brother did a really big armor set. And he's with the New Arizona Republic, and he's with this group. So here's he and Rob and a bunch of other people. I'll share the picture, but. He is 7 foot in this?
Yeah, he's about 7 foot, yeah.
And he's the second one. So Rob's on the left, and then this is my brother. And he's 7 foot in that costume. And so it gives you an idea of how big it is. That's all made out of foam. Yep. And a little kid ran in front of him, and he punted the kid across the room. Two handlers, and one of them had just gotten distracted, and the other one was helping him move through the crowd. And this little kid just ran from the bathroom, straight from the bathroom. The door opened, the kid was out, and this kid went rolling through the crowd. And for some reason, the second the kids got punted, the crowd separated, parted, just woof. And the kid gets up and he's like, "I'm okay."
I can't tell you how many.
Look both ways, kiddo.
I couldn't help but laugh. So, if you're in really big armor, just please have maybe more than one handler. And even then, just know that things are going to happen because people don't pay attention. I've had a guy that was on his phone, was paying attention, not even paying attention. And I was to the left of my brother, and this guy goes right into his back and falls backwards. And I'm like,
I don't even want to there's all kinds of horror stories. You're walking down an aisle and you're parting the ways. And I can't tell. I walked up, and I have the video because I have a helmet cam. And there were two girls standing in the middle. I just walked right up behind them and just stood there for 5 minutes looking over her shoulder because she's like this on her phone. And Sean, at the time, my handler, was standing in front of them, and he's like, what do you want to do with our hand signals? And I'm like, this. And I just stood there. And then her friend finally turns around and looks, and she was just like, and then both of them fell over and hit the ground. I was like,
sometimes you haven't done anything in your armor, and just I haven't even I'll show a picture, but I haven't even this isn't even that big of an outfit. But I did Yojimbo from Final Fantasy, and this is a great costume. It's fun, but it's not that big of an outfit, and yet I have smacked so many people. I think I've hit more people with this outfit than any of the other ones.
Cauldrons are the freaking worst.
Exactly.
So we've got Jess on the left with I've hit people with my hat. It's magnetized. So it hurt them more than me because it stayed on me, no problem. I hit them with my sword, with my shoulder pieces, and I'm just looking at them like, dude, I am brightly colored. How do you not see me?
I hit people with my horns all the time. It's because it's 2 feet in length
Yeah.
total. And
it doesn't matter if it's only a couple of inches off your shoulders or off your head. Like, you're going to hit things. You're going to hit walls. You're going to hit doors. You're going to hit people. Like, my Demon Rom, I think the pauldron's only like this big too. Like, it's not a very big piece. And I always hit door frames. Like, I am surprised that piece never broke. Just because, like, I will just shoulder check anything that's more, like, further than I think it is.
That's when you learn how to do the side shuffle through doors, and it's funny because you walk up to a door and you turn sideways, and then you side shuffle through the door. And...
Yeah, my hat that I wear for Yojimbo is literally an extra large serving tray from the dollar store that I covered in foam. And so it's like having a huge serving tray in my head. And I mean, I smack people all the time with it. And the funny thing is in my shoes, I'm like 6'1", 6'2", maybe, probably 6'1". But I have really, really, really big shoes that I wear with this. And I'm taller than most people, but there's still somehow someone manages to like get on someone's back and I smack them, or just like, it's just, I don't know. You just understand to build your foam durable, because you will probably be hitting people and yourself too.
Foam is very forgiving. I mean, I learned that with the Raider armor. I mean, people are always coming up and poking you, or you running into people. And with foam, it will. I mean, I had a horror story, but most of it is very durable and will take that shock. So you can, I mean, do a little bit of shifting, or when you're downtime, you can do the repairs right there. And it's very durable as far as in that aspect of.
It's meant to be shock absorbing. That is a good benefit. It is shock absorbing, and that means it's going to be a lot stronger than, like, say, if you are wearing Warbler, like a thermoplastic. If it falls and hits the ground, it will crack, or it can chip off. Foam falls and hits the ground, just bounces.
Yeah.
I have a couple of like construction questions for you guys, if you don't mind. I told you I have to start a project this week, and I'm like very, very concerned for myself. So, when you plasti dip a piece, like, how do you know how many layers is like enough and it's ready to paint now? Like, how can you tell?
So for me, after I've heat sealed, I always do 1 layer of plasti dip, then I step away, and then I come back and I look, can I still see air pockets in the foam? Or does it look fully smooth? If it looks fully smooth, I pick it up and I start bending it. And if I bend it and some of the plasti dip bends with it, it needs another coat.
On mine with the floor mat foam, I did a bunch of testing with the floor mat foam, and for the area that I was coating, it was taking at least 3 coats.
I do. My rule of thumb is 3.
3, yeah.
I only do 2 coats, but that's also because I'm thinking smaller. When it comes to like larger, like if it's bigger than like a shield, a breastplate, a shoulder, if it's a bigger prop where it's going to cover more area, or it's a high friction area, 3 coats.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so after you like paint a piece, do you guys do any sort of like finish on top of it, or do you just leave it painted?
I do the plaid acrylic finish because it's flexible, or you can do wood glue for something that's more heavy duty, or just a clear coat of fabric glue since it's flexible.
So when I'm going cheap, I just do a clear coat of paint, but the wood glue works best if it's durable. Like my sword, I have a really nice sword, but it cracks a lot because I put a really cheap chintzy coat on it and it gets beat up a lot. Next time I do it, it's going to be a wood glue on it, so it doesn't do that anymore.
Oh, okay.
You can also do a varnish for something that's really shiny, right? Like,
I've learned a couple things because again, I mean, I'm in the automotive field, so what I've kind of looked for is the paints, especially if you're going to use spray paints. Look for a lot of the ones that say plastic on them now, that'll adhere to plastic
or rubber,
or rubber or flexible finish. There's it's a spray paint called bumper paint. It's a little expensive right now, but it has a flex agent in it, and I guarantee you, with the way the cosplay community is, they're going to pick up on that, or we're going to pick up on that, and you're going to see a lot more of this it's an additive to the paint that so you get flexible, because like on bumpers of cars, when you accidentally run into a pole, your bumper will flex. So from the factory, they put a flex agent in there. So if you go to, like, we have an Ace Hardware down here that's, I call it the Ace Hardware from hell. They have everything there. It's just like an entire Walmart Ace Hardware, and their paint section, their spray paint section, is about as big as my house. And they have a whole new, I think Krylon, it's called, it's not plastic dip, but it's called plastic something.
It's Flexi Dip.
Flexi Dip, yeah. Start looking for that kind of stuff. With foam, I think your brother's calling it. Foam has a flexible agent to it.
Tell them we're busy.
One of the things I do want to warn of right now, I don't know about your guys' area, but up in the Washington area and in Canada, we're having a shortage of acrylic paints. And you walk into the craft store and there's like maybe 30 paints in the entire aisle. Wow. I was super upset because I don't have any reds, because I do a lot of blue and greens, but I'm doing a red dragon costume. I found one purple red, and that was the only beautiful, like, nice acrylic paint I could find that would match the tones I was using for my wings. Like, we're having a lot of issues right now with paints, so I do ask that you guys be patient, or to look into other options or check other stores. Hardware stores probably aren't as hard off as craft stores are, because they're more essential, so they'll be more expensive, but you'll probably find what you're looking for. And one of the other things that I do, especially for smaller pieces, actually, is I do nail polish. Because it usually, you can find ridiculous colors in the most awesome different shines and stuff, and it dries really fast. And so you can, my Demon Rom is almost entirely done in nail polish, because there was just a certain gloss look that I wanted that I just couldn't get with my acrylic paints. So if you have a couple smaller pieces or gems or something and you can't quite find what you're looking for, a really good cheater is nail polish.
Yeah, nail polish is good. But I also, and Chris mentions mixing acrylics with the fabric textile mediums, like I said, and then you can use a matte varnish. I use the plaid matte varnish by plaid matte acrylic spray, and it's a clear matte spray. Cosplay Pro sells it, and I think it's actually a Plaid Effects product that you can get from there. So there's always lots of ways, but in Arizona, the best is using some sort of matte flexible acrylic sealer.
Yeah, here in Arizona, we kind of have your brother is still trying to call me. We have it kind of easy, because you can take something outside, hit it with spray paint, and then work with it 20 minutes later because it's dry. I mean, I've had days where you can't even paint outside, because the moment you hit the spray can, it dries before it even hits the thing. So
like the rule of thumb, if you're in a cooler area, please spray from further away. If you're in Arizona, you might want to take that 6-inch rule and make it 3 or 2.
Insane. Like, I cry because nothing dries here.
I just want to read a couple of comments we have here. SG says, I have a Sesshomaru and people trip on the fluffy tail all the time.
You're my new favorite. Like, Elias and Sesshomaru, like, just you are my new favorite. Those are my boys. Like, yes, I want to see these cosplays. Please share.
I'm always about, like, if I have the things that are like trippable, I always try and figure a way to, like, keep it from being trippable. Like, so maybe, like, I don't know, like loops on the tails to keep on your finger or something. And it's just, it sucks because you work hard on it and then someone will accidentally step on it. You know? I had
2 furries actually follow me through a convention because they were having trouble. One was a fox, and both of them were foxes, and they followed me through because they didn't have handlers, for one thing. That's why I always promote handlers. I don't care what kind of costume you have. If you can have a friend, a helper, buddy system, a handler, use them. Mm-hmm. You know. But they ended up following us because they were having trouble with, there were so many people at the convention. People were like snagging the tails and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was like, dive in behind us. I can part anything in my armor.
Power numbers.
Power armor.
Exactly. So it was so that worked out.
That's another thing too, is like if you are like alone at a con, there are definitely other people there that know what you're feeling or know how to help you or whatever. So like, and cosplayers, like we know what are the hardships. So if you ever find yourself kind of stuck, maybe reach out to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, that
I
might have.
always have, like with our group, the New Arizona Republic, I always advertise, you need a place to crash, you need some help, you don't feel comfortable, come find us. There are some big boys in our group. I can get out, it takes me about 20, 25 minutes to get out of my armor and about 20, 25 minutes to get into my armor or to get out of it or, in and out. Believe me, if somebody's got a problem, I can get out of that armor in about 5 minutes.
Right.
Which unfortunately I did have a situation where somebody was hassling a cosplayer. They came over to us and I got out of that armor and went and confronted the person with security. And I was like, no, you don't mess with my people. It was like, no. So we always advertise it as a safe spot.
We're all con parents. We're all con mom and dads. Like, I don't care if we've never met in person. If you're in the Seattle area and you're having issues, you come to me. Like, I will.
Like, we just kind of met the family.
No. Just if you're anywhere, like, I will take care of that problem real fast. I am the con mom of my group. I have food, water, electronics, chargers. I have medicine. I carry a pack of emergency goods, including the sewing kit. Like, if you need anything, mom got you.
So do we actually. We like within our group. I think Lena always has like the sewing kit stuff. I've got like the feminine things, and a lot of us have like snacks. So we always say like to anybody out there, especially women and younger, like young women, if they feel uncomfortable, like we're always in a group. So like they can come. We've done it. We have like
adopted
a couple people for a couple hours or whatever. Even like that's fine. Like
I actually have a complete Foot Locker just to repair stuff for foam. I mean, I pull out this last convention we were at. I got home and like a week later, when I finally decided to clean all this stuff up, that thing was empty. I had 2 packages of foam, like a whole package of super glue. I went out and got one of the big 100 packs of glue sticks. My glue gun was destroyed. And I'm like, where did all this stuff go? And then, I started calling people. They're like, well, somebody needed this and this. And I was like, perfectly happy. And what's happening is I didn't even supply all that stuff. I just said, hey, I need from the group members, I need stuff to help, to help out other people. And people were showing up and just throwing stuff in there. There was somebody there was a sewing kit in there with a hand sewing machine.
Wow, like one of those little handheld ones.
Yeah, and I was like, where did that come from?
That may have come from me because I don't have my hand sewing machine anymore, and I remember giving it to someone, so it may have been me.
It might have been a Foot Locker, but if you want to come to my house and dig through the shed, perfect.
Yeah. So I've got a couple more comments here. I just want to, because we're kind of wrapping up, guys. If you have any
other questions. And I also wanted to touch on one thing. We talked a lot about painting foam. I'm going to pull up something while you're talking about the comics.
Okay, yep. And so we've got a couple more here. Joe says, my wife's steampunk wings are always getting hit. Good thing they're foam. That's another thing is as well, if you do have something that you want to make out of like a very fragile material, just be aware, it's like, do I want to wear this on the con floor or is this something just for the stage? So just be aware of that as well. Vaughn says, I mix acrylics and fabric mediums to keep flex, and I do the same with matte varnish. That's good. Oh, he said you Chris told Ben that you're on, so stop calling you. SG says, when I get some good pics of them, I'll throw them on here. And that's something that we're probably going to do in the future, guys, is maybe share some like viewers cosplays. So keep an eye on that because we've got a lot of cool things going on with our website and blog. So definitely keep an eye on that.
We have a Discord. Come join us.
Yes, and we have a Discord, guys. So the link, I'll keep throwing the link up on the Facebook page. So you guys join and let's get talking. Chris says, I've always got a cosplay medic supplies. Good. Yeah, you and Ben are 6'5". You're giants. Joe says, old con mom, con grandpa and grandma. Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Perfect.
Scott Tall Person says, I've had friends come grab me to help walk someone else they knew to their hotel because it was late. That's definitely important as well because cons end late. And there are a lot of young people there too, or people that like go there alone because their friends don't like cons or family. But definitely reach out. Always.
on multiple occasions have walked people through Seattle, because Seattle doesn't scare me. I grew up here. But like my friends that come out of state and stuff, like I will walk you to your hotel room. It doesn't matter how late it is. Like if you came to my 18 plus panel and you were there until 1 a.m., I will make sure you get home. Like it's going to happen.
Like for us in downtown Phoenix is not necessarily the safest place, and that's where we have the biggest conventions. So definitely work in packs. And HR Hatch says, my mom says, I'm a pack mom, pack mule of magic. Yeah. So definitely, if you need something at a con and you don't have it, someone's got it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to real quick we talked about painting and how to measure and what kind of processes we do and what we think about. Now, if you are in an area and you can't paint or you don't want to paint your foam, you can cover it in fabric. I took for this one, I took like the anti-fatigue floor mats just because I wanted something a bit more durable. And I covered it with 4x strips. And this creates, like, you can get spandex in all colors, all sheens, all kinds of things, right? And then you can just sew on your attachments for zippers or Velcro. And I did Gowrie from Slayers, and my armor was just spandex covered foam, and it was super lightweight, really easy to wear, and a lot of fun. So
it's so pretty.
That's another thing you can do. And the shine, like, I mean, it's super shiny, which is really cool. And it kind of looks like the anime, because his was just weird, shiny. I couldn't find any paint for it, but I found this spandex that looks just like the armor. And so I was like, you know what? I guess I'm using spandex.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to try that technique too.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, because we kind of ran out of time to answer questions, like go ahead and hit any of us up. We're all open to answering any questions about foam or glue or cutting.
You can go to Discord too and ask questions.
And so let's go ahead and wrap up then. Rob, how can people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you?
So I don't really have a cosplay page. You can actually contact me on my personal page, which is Robert Webb. Just look for my header has the me in Power Armor, or you can go to our group, which is the new Arizona Republic Fallout Costuming page, or through one of the group here, and we can certainly help you out. My biggest thing is have fun with it. I mean, don't paint yourself into a corner and get so stressed out about it. Walk away, start over. You know, just have fun. That's what it's all about.
And we do have a server. We do have a chat on our Discord server about like post-show questions and stuff. So if you want to reach out to Robert, but you're not able to help, wow, I can't talk, but not sure how to reach him, you can always contact us there, and we'll relay the messages. We'll get Rob on there to chat if you want to, and yeah.
Cool. And I am Sam from ThermoCosplay. You can reach me at www.thermocosplay.com.
Yay!
Done.
Liz?
I'm Liz from Ambrose Cosplay. You can find me here on Facebook with the same name, or on Instructables and Instagram at Ambrose_Cosplay.
And Kii-Chan?
I'm Kii-Chan Cosplay, and you can find me as this down here on Instagram. It's Kii-Chan_Cosplay, or Kii-Chan Cosplay is one word on Facebook, or now I am on the evil TikTok, and you can find me as Tiny_Raincloud.
All right, guys.
Also, oh shoot, never mind, I lost it. I was going to say something.
Remember, let me know. I'm JinxCosplay.com. I'm also at the Jinx Cosplay on our my social medias. As for CosTalk Live, guys, we stream 3 platforms every Sunday at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard. That's 11 Pacific, if that's easier for you to convert. We're on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, and Instagram, but we don't stream live on Instagram. And we also, guys, do have our website, CosTalkLive.com or CosTalkLive.com. We're going to have a blog going on there. We're going to have episode show notes. So if there's something that you want to reference back to, it's all going to be on there. It's still a work in progress, but guys, we are there. Like I said, we're going to have a blog going, and we want to be doing something to share our viewers as well. So keep an eye out for that.
Also, I remembered, next week we're doing a really fun episode, and we're going to have one of my good friends as a guest, Jason Scythe. He's a Seattle cosplayer who is phenomenal and really well known for his really crazy, Borderland cosplays. He does some awesome foam wigs, and I am so excited to introduce him to you guys. And the topic, I believe, is just...
Unconventional materials.
Yeah, unconventional materials for like, your projects. So, yep, foam wigs, that's definitely it. I want to know more about foam wigs. Yes.
There's no such thing as trash.
I mean, we'll talk about things that Sam's used. I know she's used some interesting things. So guys,
I use Pringles cans
Yeah.
and protein.
Protein powders. We'll save it for next week. All right, guys. And then also keep an eye out. We will have Yaya Han back on next month. So we're going to release more information about that. So if you guys if you like us, share us with your friends, follow us on all platforms. Thank you so much for your support. All right.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us.